Julius Caesar, written by Marianne Blatchy. Julius Caesar. Focus question. Why is Julius Caesar known as one of the greatest leaders of ancient Rome? Hail Caesar! Ancient Rome is one of the most important civilizations in world history. Many European languages, cultures, and governments have connections to ancient Rome, and Julius Caesar was one of its most well known leaders. Caesar became famous because he was a skilled military commander. He was also a very clever and successful politician. He was a great public speaker, and the Roman public loved him, as well as Caesar's soldiers. However, Caesar was very tough in war and politics. Many of his enemies feared Caesar because they believed he wanted to be king. Caesar was born during a time when Rome was in great trouble. He wanted to help citizens with little power or wealth and change Rome for the better. The Roman world. Ancient Rome began where Italy is today. Over more than 1,000 years, Rome grew to become one of the most powerful empires in the world. However, few of those years were stable or peaceful. Rome was often at war with its neighbors, distant people, and even itself. In the beginning, Rome was a city-state ruled by kings. A city-state was a place that included one large city and the countryside around it. The story is that Rome was ruled well by 6 kings in a row. Then a 7th king acted cruelly. In 509 BCE, the people of Rome rose up and drove the king from power. This map shows the Roman Republic in the years 200 to 100 BCE. There is the city of Rome. Romans decided that they didn't want kings, and this began the Roman Republic. They elected 2 men called consuls every year to run the government. The consuls were helped by the Senate, a group of rich men who had great political power. They were called senators. The Roman Republic grew quickly. Over time, Romans took over lands across the Mediterranean Sea in North Africa. As they conquered other regions, Romans created provinces. Rome wanted to govern these lands and establish an army to control them. Romans chose wealthy citizens to rule the provinces. They sold food and enslaved people from the provinces and got even richer. However, life was difficult for the common citizens back in Rome. Many of them did not have much money. They did not benefit from the new provinces. The Senate had also become very corrupt. The gap in wealth between the rich and those with little money became too big, and civil war broke out. A civil war is when 2 groups of people from the same country are fighting for control. Caesar's early life. Julius Caesar was born in July 100 BCE, more than 2,000 years ago. Caesar came from an old family, but they weren't very wealthy or important. Caesar's parents did educate him well. When his father died, Caesar became the head of his family at age 16. In that same year, he married Cornelia, who was from a family that supported the common Roman citizens. At this time, a wealthy man named Sulla had taken control of Rome. Sulla demanded that Caesar leave Cornelia. Caesar refused, which was very risky. It showed that he would not obey Sulla. To get away from Sulla, Caesar joined the army. He served in the provinces far from Rome. Caesar became an officer. His soldiers admired him because he treated them fairly. When Sulla died in 78 BCE, Caesar felt it was safe to return to Rome. He returned to politics and worked with a powerful man named Pompey. After Cornelia passed away, Caesar married Pompey's daughter, Pompeia. Now settled in Rome, Caesar believed that he knew how to fix the troubled government. Caesar told the people of Rome that he wanted to give them land and help them find jobs. The people adored him for this. The leader. The people elected Caesar to the important government position of consul when he was 40 years old. He served as consul for 1 year and then became governor of Gaul. Gaul was an important Roman province in what is today northern Italy and France. As governor, Caesar commanded powerful Roman legions or armies. Caesar earned the loyalty of his soldiers because he was smart, was brave, and insisted on fighting side by side with his own men. Many different tribes or groups of people lived in Gaul at that time. The tribes were brave and skilled soldiers. Romans had tried to beat the tribes before, but never succeeded. Caesar's armies were sometimes outnumbered, and the tribes were fierce fighters for their land. Caesar and his legions were skilled but violent soldiers. After many years of war, they brought all the tribes of Gaul under Roman control. This forever changed the way these people lived and had a great effect on the way Europe would grow, impacting language, government, and even education. Caesar was in Gaul for 10 years, and his military success there made him famous back in Rome. All the time he was away, Caesar had political friends working for him at home. He remained connected with Pompey, who married Caesar's daughter, Julia. Pompey, Caesar, and a wealthy politician named Crassus formed a group that was very powerful. However, in time, Pompey wanted Caesar's fame. After both Crassus and Julia died, Pompey and Caesar became bitter enemies. Caesar was popular with the common Romans, but Pompey had the support of the rich senators and some of the legions in Italy. Caesar wanted to go back to Rome. The Senate said he must give up command of his loyal army. Caesar returns to Rome. Caesar feared that he might be murdered if he returned alone, so he brought his loyal and mighty army. He knew he was breaking Roman law when he did this, but he believed he had to stand up to Pompey. When Caesar returned, the two armies fought a deadly civil war. Caesar chased Pompey's troops out of Italy and quickly defeated them. Pompey was also killed. When Caesar led his army back to Rome, the Senate welcomed him. Caesar did many important things. He passed new laws to help the common citizens and gave them jobs. He also built great buildings and even changed the calendar. The people loved Caesar. However, many wealthy members of the Senate did not. They feared that Caesar wanted to give too much power and wealth to the common people. They also feared that he wanted to be king. 2 years after his return to Rome, a group of senators planned against Caesar and murdered him. After Caesar. Caesar's murder led to an even more terrible civil war. When the war was finally over, the Roman Empire was born. Across the Roman Empire, conquered people adopted Roman ways. The Roman Empire would go on to impact the language and culture of Europe and shape the world we live in today. This map illustrates the Roman Republic in 45 BCE. It shows the Roman Republic at the time of Caesar's death. This is the city of Rome. This is a timeline of the life of Julius Caesar. This is a glossary of all the bold printed words in the text. Looking back, let's take a look at this text box. Do you know? Caesar changed the calendar. Romans used a calendar based on the positions of the moon. The calendar was missing 10 days. Caesar worked with astronomers to create a new calendar that was based on Earth's movements around the sun. It was much more accurate. The month of July is named after Caesar. His first name was Julius Caesar. That is why July is named after him.